only to your followership, but you're going to be shown to the world, at large. And that is a key breaking in a mindset that has to change for entrepreneurs. It's not about checking the thing off. I got it posted. I got it done. It's not like that. It's about how meaningful was it? How much did it actually engage people?
So let's continue on that thread for a second. I'd like you to give me a for instance. Obviously, people got sold on the social platforms and kind of the whole follower scene, right? Like you wanted to get on, you needed to have a certain follower base. And obviously, the advertising business also participates in this, in that, the more followers you have, the more attractive you are to advertisers, and the better your engagement, the more attractive you are to advertisers. But at the same time, as we all know, that can also be purchased. But getting back to the quality of posts that you're posting and whether or not that particular platform sees you as attractive because of the kind of response you're getting from your posts, how do you, as a content creator, let's say, and you're posting things on the platform, how are you then not only sure that your posts are the kind of quality posts that the platform's going to like, but that it's going to be shared with the audience that you want to see it, given that it's not necessarily your followers who are going to see it?
Right. And really, if you're trying to grow with anything, at a quick pace, you have to think beyond your followers. So that's a good question. So for me, I kind of backtrack what you said about the word influencer and what our society does and how we look at that. And of course, you can buy followers. So then what is the meaning there? To me, I come back to that word to say you're influencing people. And I guess my question for any startup and entrepreneur, who are you influencing? Are you able to influence? Because whether LinkedIn or Snapchat or Instagram or Facebook or whatever thinks you're influential, that doesn't matter. That's their opinion. Who cares? Where you see the evidence of you influencing people is if they are responding to you, and if they are, then secondarily buying your product or service, right? And so what a lot of people try and do then is say, well, we want a big audience, so I'm going to write to a lot of people. And the moment that everybody is your audience, I guarantee you that nobody is your audience. And so what I would say in startup mode, what people fail to do often is to go and do the slow work, right? Because it's hard because we're all energetic and we want to get it done and we're like so, driven for it. But you got to stop and you got to think, who is my most ideal client, and do solid persona development work. You need to know not just demographics, like who is this person, what gender are they, what kind of job do they hold, what's their role, but you need to know what their challenges are, what their values are. You need to know what problems are persistent for them and what problems are newly emerging that they're struggling with. And you need to know the way they talk. What are the things that fall out of their mouth? What could you do to help them? Because I'm telling you, nobody wants to be sold to. And so we're out there in our own life thinking, I don't want somebody slimy selling me or trying to unduly influence me. None of us like it. We resist it. And yet then we come in either as an entrepreneur or a marketer, sit at the desk and then write, crap copy that is trying to be slimy and salesy, and nobody likes it. So it's about stopping and saying, you don't need to influence a lot of people. You need to influence only your most ideal client. And I have always said this about marketing, that really a great marketing plan and a great strategic marketing plan will actually turn people away. It will turn certain people away because they are not for you. And it will engage the ones who go, oh my gosh, I have finally somebody who, whatever it is. And they are so delighted because they see a very specific thing. Someone has actually cared about them. And so it turns some people off and turns some people on. And that to me is what, you need to be thinking about when you're thinking about influence. I would rather influence, just 10 people, to, spend $250,000 with me than influence 100,000, but just to say, oh, you're great.
Right, exactly. So if you develop good content that's very persona driven, then the presumption is that that content will be shared with your target audience because that target audience, if you've written it correctly, will respond. Is that the presumption?
Yeah, exactly. And you won't be able either to just put it in front of them once. We know from research that people read on average about 14 pieces of content before they make a decision. And online, the reality is that the modern buyer is on an anonymous journey through their buyer's journey to get to who they want. They're doing research without you even knowing. And so you do have to have a lot of content out there. You do have to have a lot of quality content out there because there's not this one linear path to purchase. People are going boop, 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 zigzagging all over the place. And you need to be able to be seen and heard in a lot of different places in order to finally resonate with them for them to find you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely. So let me switch gears and ask you if you wouldn't mind sharing if there are any products or services or specific hacks, like your top 3 that you would like to share with entrepreneurs who might be listening.
Yeah, for sure. I'd say the first one I would say is Trello. And I'm not paid to say that. So it's just something I found very early in my career. And then, of course, it was amazing. They got bought out by Atlassian. And I mean, I could have told them that at that point. It was so amazing. But again, this kind of goes to don't create another system, build on someone else's system. Our entire workflow is built on Trello because it is collaborative. And it gets everything out of my head, out of the lead's head, out of the account manager's head, out of the creative's head. Everybody, it has to be on Trello. And we always say here, you cannot over communicate on Trello. You can use a free version. And of course, we have an enterprise version because we provide it for free to our clients. But it is about collaboration. And I truly believe collaboration is the new competition. And I'm completely sold on digital transformation. So any kind of product that can help you get anything done digitally, whether it's signing a document with DocuSign, things that you know about already, but a lot of people know about them, but they don't put them in place. And I guess one other one I would say, well, besides HubSpot, obviously, I believe firmly in marketing automation and making workflows that make sense for people to have a really wonderful personalized journey. But the other one I think people overlook often, especially in startup mode, we use LastPass. And that is where we safely and securely keep people's passwords. We are entrusted with so much data with our clients. And if it is not private and locked down and we can't prove that it is, I don't think anybody should be doing business with us. And so you think about all the sensitive information we have. I mean, we're controlling so many people's social media channels. We have a lot of power. And I think thinking very early about the systems you're creating and whether they're scalable and whether they're secure, that's what I would be looking at in terms of evaluating any system.
Got it. That's great. Thank you. All right. So here's my last quick question. If you could wave a magic wand, what one thing that drives you crazy do you wish someone would find a solution for that would help your productivity and sanity?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I mean, wave a magic wand. So this is what I really wish. I truly believe that one of the things that entrepreneurs and anybody in startup mode fails to do is they fail to reuse content effectively. And so they are constantly just under the gun, do this, write this, and they really could reuse content better. So I think of it like a Thanksgiving turkey. It's a big meal. You make this amazing, turkey. You've spent hours. I mean, you get up at 4 a.m. and you get it done, right? And it's all this stuff, all this love goes into it. And then you serve it for one meal. Well, any good American knows that the next day, you know what's coming, right? It's turkey sandwiches, it's turkey soup, it's turkey a la king, it's turkey casserole, right? All this stuff. And so I know that we've created systems in order to reuse that content and get it, divided up in bite size. Because if it was worth making a whole turkey out of it, it's worth making 3 weeks of meals out of it, right? And so that big piece of content should last you all year if you break it up in small little pieces. So my wave the magic wand would be, I would love to be able to put a piece into a software and have it kick out 100 different pulled quotes with an image or, this was a great piece, like all of these small little pieces so that I don't have to do all that manually, which is what our team does.
Got it. So
if anybody wants to build it, exactly, a turkey slice and dicer, and someone make that for me, as seen on TV.
All right. Well, thank you, Priscilla. It's been great having you on Startup Hacks today. Your insights were really awesome. Thank you so much. Now, if listeners would like to reach you, where can they contact you?
Well, we have so many free resources at Little Bird Marketing. We just have a resource tab. You can download all kinds of things, persona development, et cetera, et cetera. I'm always available personally on LinkedIn. But yeah, LinkedIn is probably the easiest place to get me, but I would certainly answer any other questions. And Fernanda, thank you so much for having me on. I really believe in what you're doing, and I believe in this podcast. And I'm just glad to try and give it back a little bit, on this journey.
Well, thank you. It's so awesome to have you. Before we sign off, why don't you give everyone your URL?
Yes, it's littlebirdmarketing.com.
That's easy to remember. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much. We will see you next week for another episode of Startup Hacks. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining Startup Hack. Tune in next week for more interviews. We have another great show you won't want to miss on the secret female founder strategies that can save you time and money when building your business. This podcast is brought to you by Women Entrepreneurs Global, the first startup studio and digital do-it-yourself startup platform for women. For more information on our guests, this podcast, and many other female founder programs, please visit womenentrepreneurs.global. I'm your host, Fernanda Carapina. See you next week.